Great to have you back here, folks. Rush Limbaugh behind the golden EIB microphone, 800-282-2882. Okay, back to the Republican side of things. In Reno, Donald Trump with a rally on Sunday afternoon. Now, Trump has 4 or 5 days running now been toying with this idea that Ted Cruz has a citizenship problem. And it's understandable. Cruz is leading in Iowa. Trump wants to win Iowa. Trump has had some success going after Obama's birth certificate and his eligibility and so forth. It could be argued that's what put Trump on the political map, in fact. So now Trump has focused on Ted Cruz. All of the official recognition is in, and there's no question. Ted Cruz is a United States citizen, up, down, sideways, inside out. There's no question there. He's a total 100% American citizen, and it's not a matter of dispute. Now, that doesn't mean the Democrat Party won't sue. If Cruz is elected president, they will sue. Just like people sued Obama, sued to find out the truth about his birth certificate. So Trump is running around saying, do we want that distraction? Do we want to nominate somebody who's going to end up being the subject of lawsuits? He says, so Cruz is a problem. And here's the problem. It's called uncertainty. It's called you just don't know. Trump said yesterday it's not a settled matter, and that he's not the only one raising questions. He said if Cruz becomes the nominee, the Democrats could challenge his eligibility in lawsuits that could drag on for years. He said, does anybody know more about litigation than Trump? Trump asked. And believe me, nobody does. Trump is the king of litigation. And he said, okay, I know a lot. I'm like a PhD in litigation. And then he led his audience in a chant. He let the audience weigh in at the rally yesterday afternoon. He shouted, is he a natural-born citizen? It was in a ballroom at some Reno hotel. And members of Trump's crowd shouted back, no. And then Trump said, I don't know. Honestly, we don't know. Who the hell knows? We have to find out. And then, you know what? The song Trump played to open his rally was Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. Now, it's funny, I'll grant you, but this, Born in the USA is a leftist anthem. It actually isn't, but the way it has been used up to now in pop culture is it's a song that the left uses to criticize America. In many ways. That's kind of the irony of it. I've always found it kind of curious. They think Springsteen's song, it's about a vet that comes back and is royally dumped on and mistreated, and America's at fault and so forth. Says that's the anthem. And Trump using it here borders on Trump going after Cruz again from the left. But there's nothing here. I mean, there's no question about Cruz's citizenship. But Trump's right. The Democrats will file lawsuits. They're still litigating Florida in the recount in 2001. They've filed lawsuits if Trump wins over hairstyles or some such thing. But Trump's not letting this go, and I think the reason is he's bothered by Cruz's resiliency in Iowa, which takes us back to the audio soundbites. We're up here to number 2. And this happened this morning on CNN's New Day. The co-host Chris Cuomo speaking to Errol Lewis, who is a host on New York One inside City Hall. And they had this little chat about evangelicals and the Hawkeye and Trump and the power structure and who really makes it all happen there.
How confusing is it for these voters, the evangelical types, but just really mainstream conservatives in Iowa to have the radio people, these demigods for them, saying, don't listen to this stuff about Cruz. This is crazy. Trump's way off. Meanwhile, at the same time, they have all this enthusiasm for Trump. I mean, there's a real clash of the titans.
Trump is their guy because they think he's a warrior who can go in there and set things right. And that doesn't mean they're not evangelical, and it doesn't mean that they're overlooking the fact that he, as one author put it, almost runs the table on the 7 deadly sins, wrath and all this. But he is somebody who they think can do something that they want done, which is to stop a process of erosion and of slippage and of losing their position in the country and in the world.
And Chris Cuomo frustrated there because his guest did not pick up on the real meat of his question, and that's who's responsible for all this, and that's the radio people, these demigods. These talk radio people, these demigods. No wonder these people in Iowa are confused. These people on radio have way too much influence. Same network, CNN this morning, Allison Camerata, speaking with the senior political editor of the Daily Beast, her name is Jackie Kucinich, about the presidential primary, the battle between Trump and Cruz. And Allison Camerata said Trump has been raising questions about Cruz's eligibility to be president, but so far, all Cruz has done in response is put out a video of Fonzie and trying to signify Trump has jumped the shark. Does Cruz need to do more than that?
Trump does have to be careful when he's going after Ted Cruz. You remember a couple months back, it actually backfired on Trump because of those talk radio guys started really not liking how Trump was going after Cruz, someone who has really pushed the conservative message during his day job in Washington. So while Trump keeps on hinting and putting this out there, he does need to be careful with some of those voters who really do like Ted Cruz, not to overplay his hand.
Well, that's the way Trump's handling it. He said, hey, we got a problem. I don't know. We might have a problem. It could be a lawsuit problem. I'm the king of litigation. I know how it all works. I like Ted Cruz, a good guy. We could have a problem. I don't know. What do you think? Is Ted Cruz naturally born? No. Well, it's a possibility. We don't know. And here comes Springsteen singing Born in the USA. So it's a bunch of subliminality going on here. Trump is saying it without saying it. Because according to Jackie Kucinich, she's got to be afraid he's talk guys. Trump's got to be very careful as it backfired those talk radio guys, she said. Now we move on to CNN's reliable sources. This is their version of the media navel-gazing. This is the show where the media analyzes itself and supposedly calls out its problems or sings its own praises. Michael Harrison, the guest, he's the publisher and editor of Talkers magazine. Brian Stelter, the host, says, do you credit talk radio with Donald Trump's success in the past 6, 7? Now, that question, let me explain the question. People on the left, remember, and I've made a point of this last week, you have to understand the way these questions are asked and where they come from. And it's not just the Democrats. The Republicans are the same way. When it comes to you, people they think are considered to be average, ordinary Americans, you must understand one thing. They do not believe you are capable of independent thought. Whatever you think, if it goes against what they want to believe, if you happen to support things they don't think should be, if you believe things they don't think should be, then somebody's to blame for making them think that, for making you think that. And it's always been me. Talk radio has always been blamed for what you do and what you think. And Brian Stelter, obviously schooled in this art, thinks the same thing, that you are incapable making up your own mind about anything. You're incapable. Otherwise, you'd be a good liberal. You'd be a good liberal and willingly turn over your life to the government. You don't want to do that. You want to turn your life over to talk radio. Therefore, you are mentally disabled. You are incompetent. You're incapable. And that's where the question comes from. Here's the question he asks Michael Harrison. Do you credit talk radio with Trump's success? And he said, couldn't be anything to do with Trump, you see. It couldn't be that you independently and on your own like Trump. No, it has to be that you're being brainwashed. It has to be that you are being propagandized. by talk radio. Here's Michael Harris again, the editor-publisher of Talkers Magazine. Here's his answer.
Absolutely not. Talk radio is just one of many media that is playing into Donald Trump's success. Donald Trump was created by Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's media success was created by NBC and The Apprentice. He's a shock jock that is now running for president.
Whoa! Donald Trump is a shock jock. You know what he's saying? He's saying Donald Trump is talk radio, not that talk radio is Donald Trump. But Michael Harrison's a believer in talk radio. He's not a critic. Well, I mean, he's a critic in the sense that he likes certain things, but he's not a universal critic of the format. He believes in it deeply and admires it. And so here's Stelter sitting there at CNN. So, are the talk radio guys? No, Brian, actually, you are. NBC and The Apprentice, your favorite networks, they're the ones that gave Trump the media exposure. Don't blame it on our talk radio guys. They're just capitalizing on it. So, Stelter's not totally satisfied, and he probes, now making it personal.
You don't think that Rush Limbaugh's show and others, they represent and they reflect the anger in the country that Donald Trump has taken advantage of?
There's anger in a lot of places. I think liberal talk radio has created Bernie Sanders, if you want to look at it that way.
That's interesting, but liberal talk radio is so much less influential than conservative talk radio. You know that Rush is number one.
Yes, but I think that we give far too much credit to all of talk radio for creating the situation that talk radio really, very intelligently, like the rest of the strategic media, is reflecting. I wouldn't be so quick to say that conservative talk radio is creating the hate and anger that Donald Trump is tapping into.
I don't know about hate, but look, this came up last week. Why shouldn't people be mad at what's going on to this? Why shouldn't people be angry at what's being done to this country? Anger is called for. Anger is perfectly legitimate. But the reason people are angry is not because talk radio or Trump is making them angry. They're angry at Obama. They're angry at the Democrat Party, the Republican establishment. They are angry at what? Liberalism and its implementers are doing to this country. Trump's tapping into something that already existed. But listen to little Brian here. Wait a minute. You don't think Rush Limbaugh is reflecting the anger and Donald Trump is just coming? You don't think Rush Limbaugh is responsible for it? Is essentially his question. You don't think Rush Limbaugh is... Well, liberal talk. Oh, come on, Brian. Liberal talk radio doesn't have any influence at all. He's right about that. But you don't think Rush Limbaugh is responsible? You don't see. They believe. They're not just saying this. They really believe that when things are not going their way and people are mad at them, it's only because you're too stupid to know and you've been told to be mad at them by me. Anyway. Good job by Michael Harrison. Here, we'll quick time out. Back after this. Don't go away.